Hey everyone, my name is Josh and welcome back to your fourth stimulus check and news update. In today's video, we have a lot of news to get into, but first, if you would like to receive 2 free stocks from Webull, valued up to $2,300, make sure to claim them by clicking my link, which you'll find in the description box below. Okay, so jumping right into the update for today, with the House returning to Washington in just 11 days, House Speaker Nancy Pelosi certainly has her work cut out for her. That's because in just 8 days, starting on September 20th, they'll take up yet another recess, and in that time frame, they'll look to take up a short-term government funding bill, also known as a continuing resolution. This will keep federal agencies open past September 30th and extend funding until sometime in early December. At the moment, they're looking to include around $20 billion more in emergency funding to the continuing resolution, which will go towards disaster relief, in addition to covering the resettlement cost to thousands of Afghan refugees. They're also going to look to pass a debt limit increase, which could either be in the continuing resolution or possibly something else. Pelosi has also mentioned that she wants to hold a vote on an abortion rights bill during this time frame, following the recent Supreme Court decision to allow for the new legislation regarding abortions to stick around in Texas. This piece of legislation would give legal rights to abortions nationwide, and it would also bar medically unnecessary restrictions on women who chose to have an abortion. Even though this piece of legislation is likely to pass in the House, given that it has unanimous support from Democrats, it's unlikely to pass in the Senate, where it would need at least 60 votes. Since the Senate is gridlocked at 50-50, Democrats would need at least 10 Republicans to jump on board with this bill as well. In addition to their bill on abortions, Pelosi will also look up to take up their annual defense authorization bill, where they have already approved an increase in the Pentagon budget of right around $24 billion. This, of course, is much more than Biden was looking for, and progressive Democrats are already pretty upset with this increase. Additionally, by the 27th of this month, Pelosi agreed to hold a vote on the floor for the bipartisan infrastructure bill, which is something that can pretty easily be delayed. Progressive Democrats, of course, have already said they won't vote on the bipartisan infrastructure bill until they first pass the reconciliation bill. So with that said, Pelosi and progressive Democratic leaders will look to get the reconciliation package voted on by that date, which is something that won't be all that easy to accomplish. So if the reconciliation bill isn't ready to be voted on by September 27th, do progressives go ahead and vote on the bipartisan infrastructure bill, even though the reconciliation one isn't ready? Or do they stick to their word and refuse to vote on the bipartisan bill? At this point, progressive Democrats believe that if they vote on the bipartisan bill and pass that one through, moderate Democrats may vote against the reconciliation one. So definitely a dicey situation. Meanwhile, we still have 2 Democrats in the Senate, Joe Manchin and Kyrsten Sinema, who say they won't approve the reconciliation bill if it includes $3.5 trillion more in spending. In their mind, a lot of this extra spending needs to be cut. Among some of the measures Manchin wants to see reduced from the bill include lowering the child tax credit. At the moment, progressive Democrats wish to include the child tax credit payments at $250 and $300 per month, depending on the age of the child. And even though Manchin isn't completely opposed to increasing the child tax credit from the $2,000 per year that it used to be, he doesn't want to see as big of an increase as some progressive Democrats do. Additionally, Manchin is trying to limit the progressive Democrats' effort towards giving out universal pre-K as well as tuition-free community college. Manchin believes that instead of giving universal pre-K to all Americans, instead there should be income thresholds. So perhaps only the lowest of American income families will receive pre-K at no cost instead of all families. Furthermore, Manchin is also suggesting that Democrats reduce funding for home care health services, which is something that's been a huge priority for progressive Democrats. In total, Manchin said that he will only support around $1.5 trillion in total for the reconciliation bill. White House Press Secretary Jen Psaki responds to rumors that Manchin will only support a bill less than half that progressive Democrats want, and how the White House plans to respond to the situation.
There are reports that Senator Manchin will only support as much as $1.5 trillion in a reconciliation package. Has the president spoken to Senator Manchin, or does he have plans to, and would the White House accept a $1.5 trillion plan?
Well, first, Senator Manchin, of course, continues to be a very important partner to the president and the president's agenda, and we fully expected that there would be a range of negotiations in private. Sometimes they spill out into the public, and that is what is happening as we speak around components of the package. But we also know that this is a process that's ongoing, one that we just lived through over the summer, where there were many times where the agenda was called dead and it turned out it wasn't. I'm not going to read out any calls or engagements the president has with Senator Manchin. We engage with him on a regular basis from a senior level, including with the president, and we are looking ahead to getting this bill passed and moving it forward.
1.5 trillion.
Again, I'm not going to negotiate from here. What the president is encouraged by is agreement about the need to lower costs for working families, from prescription drugs to child care to the cost of college to elder care, on the need to tackle the climate crisis, and on the need for corporations and the wealthiest Americans to pay their fair share in taxes. I would also note that whatever the size is, it's not actually accurate to call it any of these sizes, 1, 1.5, 2, 3.5. This is going to be paid for. That is something the president is committed to, something Senator Manchin has called for as well. And the real choice right now is whether you're going to lower costs for people in this country on elder care, child care, cost of college, or whether you're going to prevent or allow the wealthiest Americans and corporations to continue to pay the tax rates that are hardly fair moving forward.
So unless progressive Democrats give in to the two moderate Democrats in the Senate, it looks like the reconciliation bill may just fall apart. At the same time, if the reconciliation bill falls apart, the bipartisan infrastructure bill also falls apart. And if both bills fall apart, that's going to be a huge blow to President Biden's agenda, so there's definitely a lot of pressure on House Speaker Pelosi to bring the two wings of her party together. I have to say though, if Manchin holds to his word on only wanting to spend $1.5 trillion in this reconciliation package, I can't possibly see a way that progressives will give in. This means everything falls apart, and this could be extremely disastrous for President Biden and House Speaker Nancy Pelosi. When Speaker Pelosi was asked about her need to go below the $3.5 trillion mark, she said, "Well, you'll have to talk to the Senate about that." Take a listen.
What's your reaction to Joe Manchin calling for a strategic pause on the reconciliation effort?
Well, obviously I don't agree. I'm pretty excited about where we are. Everybody's working very hard. The committees are doing their work. We're on a good timetable, and I feel very exhilarated by it. What you have to know is this is Build Back Better with women, and so our women members are not that the men aren't energized, but the women see this as really transformative for women in the workplace, child care, universal pre-K, family and medical leave, child tax credit. So spectacular.
How high will you be able to go in terms of a price tag?
Well, we're not, the number is the number, 3.5. We can't go above that. So
But you'll have to go below that.
I'm sorry?
You'll have to go below 3.5.
Why?
Because people like Joe Manchin and Christian Cinema say that's too much money.
Well, you have to go talk to the Senate about that, but we're going to pay for as much of it as possible.
Again, Democrats have found themselves in a real sticky situation, and with all these agendas they're hoping to pass through, despite having complete control of the House, Senate, and the White House, may find themselves not passing anything at all. Okay, so one more thing before we take off for today. If you or anyone that you know are in need of any type of rental assistance, in the description box below, I do have some resources where you can apply for this aid. At this point, states still have billions of dollars to dish out, so if you're eligible, I would strongly encourage everyone to apply for this assistance. But on that note, I'm going to go ahead and wrap up this video. Again, if you would like to receive a couple free stocks from Webull, make sure to quickly claim them by clicking my link in the description box below. To receive the first free stock, you will need to fully open an account. Then to receive the second free stock, which will be valued up to $2,000, you'll need to make a qualifying deposit of at least $5. And even if you aren't all that interested in investing or continue to invest at this point in time, you can always sell the free stocks that you receive and transfer that money, however much they're worth, right back to your bank account. So free stocks or free money is completely up to you. So once again, I hope everyone has a great and safe rest of their day, and I'll see you in the next video.